Greetings, I'm Bill Kleitke, and I'd like to welcome you to today's edition of Neighborhood Beat. Our show today looks at the state of disability in our area and accessibility. Our guests are Mr. Mike Bullis, who's Executive Director of the Image Center of Maryland, of Central Maryland, and Ms. Amanda Taylor, who's an independent living specialist and travel trainer with the center. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
First of all, Mike, can I ask you, what is the mission of the center?
The mission of the Image Center for people with disabilities is to help people with disabilities live independently in the community.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. And Amanda, what do you do for the center?
I'm an independent living specialist and travel trainer, which means I do independent living skills with individuals. I also travel train, so I teach people to use the MTA's public transportation system, the buses, the light rail, the subway. We do a number of things. We all kind of wear a number of hats at the Image Center. So I also work with our independent living assistive technology program. Sometimes I volunteer with the youth transition program as well. So a number of things in the office.
Very busy.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Mike, let's talk more about the center. But first, could you tell us a little bit about your background and experience?
Well, my background is sort of twofold. I've spent about 35 years out either in business, as I used to buy and sell restaurants. I had a mediation service. I've done a lot of things in business over the last 30 years or so. And then the other part of my time I spent as a rehabilitation teacher. And what I learned from both of those experiences, that disability takes those opportunities away from people sometimes. That people who may have been in business for themselves, but now they've had a stroke, or now they've had, maybe they've been in a car accident, think, well, I can't go back into business for myself, or I can't be successful. And so my reason for getting into the Image Center was to try and help people see that life really didn't have to stop, that just because you have a disability now, you can reclaim your life again and get started.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And how long have you been with the center?
We just opened our doors a year ago, February, so we're just into our second year now. The Image Center is the independent living center that serves this area, and it's brand new.
Right. Yeah. And Amanda, have you been with the center since it started also?
I've actually only been with the center since January, so just a few short months, but have loved every second of it. And my background a little bit, I can
Please.
talk about. I worked as an autism therapist for 4 years with a private company. I was contracted to individual families. I also worked in the public school system in Anne Arundel County as a teacher's assistant. I graduated from Goucher College, so I volunteered with the Disability Initiative program there. I also still work right now with the Maryland School for the Blind doing a theater and dance program with Magical Experiences Arts Company. So
Wow.
grew up in dance and theater. So.
Wow. Yeah, that's very, very interesting stuff. And it seems to all contribute to what you're doing as an independent living specialist.
Absolutely, definitely. My background is mainly with children. This is the first experience with adults on a daily basis. And I love it. It's really teaching me a lot about the importance in life's decisions. And I've always considered myself an advocate, so I really get to practice that on a daily basis and really connect. There's never a dull moment. I always meet a new individual with a new story, and it's really exciting work. So.
Right.
What we find is that people, when they first start out, are so devastated by the disability that every decision is put on hold. They come home from the hospital, and everybody in the family wants to do things for you. Everybody in the family wants to take care of you, and unfortunately that's about the worst thing that can happen. What needs to happen is the person needs to get those roles back in the family. He needs to get busy learning how to do dishes again. If it means doing dishes with one hand, that's the way you have to learn it. If it means doing dishes with no arms, you can do that as well. But what we have to do is help people see that there are creative solutions to virtually every problem, and people like Amanda who've had even though she's beginning her professional career, she's got a wealth of experience that she brings to the table.
Indeed, indeed. And the Image Center is funded by the federal government, right?
Our base funding is federal. The federal government designates the areas for each independent living center in the United States, and our area is Baltimore City, Baltimore County, and Harford County. That is what the Image Center serves. And we have a base grant that serves to set up the center, basically. It pays the bills, gets the door open. From there, what we then do is begin working with community organizations to develop the kinds of services that we want to deliver in each county. I look at that as about 1/5 of the kind of money that we need. We get from the federal government. The rest of it we have to go out and find.
Mm-hmm. And I guess from the individual jurisdictions as well as private foundations?
All of the above. We are working with the county now with the county and city departments of aging, because there are so many people who are in nursing homes who want to get back out of a nursing home, stay back into their own home. Well, that's what we specialize in. How do you get back into community? How do you set up the kind of supports you need? How do you set up the kinds of things that are going to help you get out of that nursing home and back home again? It saves the state taxpayers money, because obviously the cost of nursing homes is several $1,000s a month. Cost of being in your own home in some cases is $50 a month. So the more we can do of that, the more we can help taxpayers by reducing their burden.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you're really returning the taxpayers' dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah. The center really helps people with disabilities live independently.
Yeah, we don't develop group home situations. We really want people to live in the community. We want them to be a part of the community. So our goal is to say to folks, you can take charge of your life again. That's the hardest thing about disability, is that it says to you, because we all believe this, it says if I'm disabled, somebody's going to have to do for me. Somebody's going to have to take care of me. Somebody's going to have to essentially, I can't live my life anymore. And what we say to people is, look, you can take charge of your life again. We just have to help you do that, get control of your life, get back to work, and have a job and a boss to hate just like everybody else.
Indeed.
And the sooner you get back to work, the better, by the way. Sitting around after major disability or laying around is a real problem, and the likelihood that you'll ever go back to work diminishes every day you stay home.
Yeah, indeed. And the dilemma is that for people with disabilities, they have a low median income. Yeah. So it's important to get back to work, to try to do something.
It really is. Otherwise, you get trapped in a cycle of poverty, or maybe you just don't believe that you can go back to work. A lot of it, again, it continually comes down to just believing that you can do it. One of the things we do is we mentor people. So if you have a specific disability, what we can do is link you up with other people who've had the same situation, have taken charge of their life again. So it's not just us saying, hey, you can do this. It's people like you who can come and say, oh, yeah, you can do it. I did it. Here's how.
Indeed. And so that's one of the things you help them with, Amanda.
Yes, absolutely. And I think really the community thrives so much in Baltimore when a member does get back in the community and start giving, start volunteering, start working. So I do help individuals directly, that want to do a volunteer project, want to get back into the workforce. And especially with the travel training, I'm teaching them to be more independent, go where they want, when they want, at their own pace, but in their own time. So whereas before you may have had to rely on someone for a ride or, paratransit services, now you can go and say, okay, great, I'm going to go do this volunteer activity. Maybe I want to grab a bite to eat with friends afterwards, and you're at the liberty now because you have these skills, you have this knowledge and this foundation that you're more comfortable within the community.
So the travel training is an interesting concept. I guess that would cover the gamut from working with someone who has vision problems, finding how to catch a bus.
Absolutely. And we don't necessarily provide orientation and mobility training for someone with vision problems, but we do provide like a general knowledge of the system, getting around. But we are a cross-disability organization, so we serve the gamut, including mental health disabilities. So it's really tailored to the individual's needs.
Yeah, we can even work with seniors who may not regard themselves as having disabilities, but who, as they get older, not being able to drive anymore, and think to themselves, maybe I need to take the bus. Give us a call, because we can come out and work with you, help you get comfortable. A lot of people have never taken a bus before. I'm afraid of it. They don't know what's on that big bad bus, and we can kind of take the fear levels away and help people get comfortable and help them figure out which routes they want to use to get back out again. Travel is so essential to freedom.
Absolutely.
If you're isolated in your home and you can't get out, it's just the same as being in a prison. And as people get older, it becomes a real trap to just stay home. So give us a call if you're starting to feel trapped, because we want to help you get out, get moving, and reclaim your life again.
Yeah, good point. How can someone get in touch with you?
They can call our center at 410-982-6311 or drop us an email at info@imagemd.org. Go to our website if you'd like and look around. There's some blogs there. There's some good information about the kinds of services we have and information about our staff. So that's www.imagemd.org.
Yeah, it's a great website. People should check it out. And so if you're a senior or if you have, you don't take general calls from folks that just want to find out about the MTA though, right?
No, we don't. The MTA has their own service for that.
Yeah,
If you want to find out about where buses go and that sort of thing, we can help you learn how to do that. But we're not that place.
Right.
We're very focused on seniors and people with disabilities. We work with a lot of kids. Part of our helping people transition from high school, maybe they've only taken buses to and from school, but have never actually taken the city bus. So we work with kids as part of what we do at the Image Center. We want to help people become independent so they can go where they want when they get out of school.
Yeah, yeah. And I guess that assistive technology is another part, such as the technology that you're using today.
Yeah, this is a Braille device. I use this to take notes. I try and tell my staff if I don't write it down on here, it probably didn't happen. I won't remember it. So it's a little PDA, basically. It's got a word processor and a calculator, and I can do email with it, etc. It's expensive technology. So one of the things that we do at the Image Center, we have a block of money. People are welcome to call us because we have a block of money that we can spend every year to help people get the kinds of technology that they need.
Wonderful.
Or we can help you find the resources to help pay for that. So we don't pay for it all. We have a small pot of money, and if we can spread it, we spread it out as far as we can by looking for other sources to help us. We can also help people with ramps. If you have a home that maybe you need to get ramped in order to get your wheelchair in and out of that, give us a call because we can help with those kinds of expenditures as well.
Yeah, yeah. Amanda, thank you, Mike. Amanda, could you give us some examples of folks that the center has helped?
Oh, sure, absolutely. Well, I have a great success story actually of a travel trainee, a young man who wanted to learn to go to work and go to school from his home and from school to work, specific routes, but basically entered into a work training program, graduating high school, and was really kind of unsure about how he was going to navigate the system, but independently is working really wonderfully on the buses and even the light rail and the metro. So he has learned completely to travel from home to work and back. It was a really great story because his mom was a little unsure of, will he make it there, right, exactly. But then one weekend he said to her, Mom, I'm going to ride the subway today. I'm going to go to the movies with my friends and catch a movie. We had not planned this route at all. We hadn't practiced it. And Mom was a little nervous, of course. But she packed him some sandwiches. He got on the subway completely independently, went to the movie, saw the movie with friends, returned home in one piece. So, it was a really great thing to hear that we didn't practice this route at all, but just riding the subway, seeing landmarks that he'd known, saying, oh, I know this, I've been here before. It gave him the confidence and the independence that he needed to be able to enjoy a social leisure activity. So.
And he's going to take off from there.
Exactly. The possibilities are really endless once you have those skills in place. And I have a number of individuals that I can see really furthering their future. I have another student who, we're travel training, we're out on the bus and we're learning how to get to a school location, but in conversation realized, maybe she needs a little bit more help, being a self-advocate, for herself and her school and voicing her needs. And I was able, to help fight and get her assistance with a placement exam so she can go to school and further her education, further her career eventually it's a trade school. So it's going to be really amazing. And just to see the look on her and her family's faces saying, thank you for the possibilities that are out there, and just riding the bus that happened, and just a conversation. So it's really amazing, what else can happen. She has gotten employment since then, and is working on getting into school. So the school's really excited to have her. So.
That's wonderful. Mike, those are great examples of the value of independence and how we all need independence.
We need independence, and we need two things to be independent. We need the skill sets, and we need the attitude, and both are key. Because without the skill sets, you can have a great attitude and say, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. Well, I don't know how though, but I can do it. But also, if you just focus on the skills, sometimes if you don't believe you can go take a bus, if you don't believe that you can work, then you're not even going to focus on the options. So what we try and help people do is grab a hold of life again by believing that they have the skill, they can get the skills, and by having an attitude that says, I can take my life back again. It's going to be really key as baby boomers get older. None of us are going to just stop aging. We're all going to need things as we get older, and baby boomers are going to have to learn how to fix their house up so they can stay in it. None of us want to go to nursing homes, so we're going to have to help people as they age gracefully, age in place, age in your own neighborhood. That's what it's all about.
Amen. And to age in your own neighborhood, however, things have to be accessible.
Oh, they really do. And we're going to have to, we're making a lot of progress. If you look at where we were 30, 40 years ago in terms of ramps and accessible restaurants, et cetera, we've made a lot of progress, but we still also have a long way to go. We have so many buildings that people in wheelchairs, for example, or with walkers can't get in and out of. We have, but as they get remodeled, we're going to slowly but surely eat away at that. And it's become more and more becoming a business decision, because as businesses realize that the people who are coming to their business are aging, they're going to make more and more things accessible to folks.
If you can't get into the store, how can you spend money?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I think more and more businesses are realizing that it really is a common sense issue of dollars and cents.
Yeah, well, maybe that will help get rid of a lot of the stuff in the aisles in various stores too, because if you can get in the store, it's one thing, but you've got to be able to get down the aisles.
Get down, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And people just don't think, but we are glad, by the way, if organizations want us to come and do an accessibility site survey to help them figure out exactly what could we do to make our business more accessible, we'd be glad to come out and take a look at those kinds of things and kind of help people proceed. For us, every time we can make a place accessible, that's another youth or another adult who's going to be able to get in and out and live independently in that community area. We work a lot with kids, and these kids, high school kids, are growing up to see a world that's different than the one I grew up in. They're growing up to see a world where they expect to be able to get in and out of businesses. They expect to be able to work. They expect that their life is going to be simple, and we need to help them make that dream come true so that they can become the taxpayers we want them to become.
Absolutely, absolutely. So to find out, to set up a time for you folks to come out and take a walk through or a ride through the business, they should just call you?
Again, just call the main number and
Okay.
talk to me. We'll set it up, figure out exactly what you need and how we can help. Everything's going to be different. Every business is going to be different in terms of how we want to look at providing that kind of a service. So just give a call and we'll talk it out.
Right. Team program. You work a team program. How does that work, Amanda?
For the team or the teens, you said?
Teen.
The teen program.
Yeah, the teen program.
So the Youth Transition Program, it's an excellent program. I think our youngest is 14 years old right now. But we have a number of things. We have a Teen Connect Night, which is on Friday nights, and it's a social opportunity for boys and girls to get together. And we do a number of things, including dance parties and pizza parties, and we also have time to kind of discuss, and it's really amazing. I went recently, and they're friends. You really see friendships bonding and real relationships bonding between the teenagers. There's also a girls' night out, which is geared more around almost kind of slumber party, doing painting your nails and things like that. The teenage girls, I of course loved to do when I was a teenager. We also have a manly man night that's coming up too, centered around the teen men growing up. Manly man night, yeah.
I think I'd be more interested in that than the girls' night out.
Well, what it really provides is we do some recreation, and what it really does is gets these kids in so that we can then have the second part of the discussion with them, which is, so how are you going to live alone? when you move out. And in some cases, they aren't even planning on it. Maybe mom and dad are afraid to even discuss the subject because they aren't sure it's possible.
It's
so
understandable to have those kinds of
It is
misgivings.
absolutely. And so we have conversations with the parents while they're there, as well as the kids, and say, look, let's take a look at how possible this can be. Your child can grow up and live normally. Let's figure out how.
Yeah.
There's so much value to the individual also. It's maybe there's a traditional way of doing something, but there's a different way that I need to do it or you need to do it. And we just need to find that way. We need to problem solve and figure out the absolute best way to do things. And even with businesses and the rest of society, making them realize, this is the way to do it. It may not be the way that you or I do it, but this is what this individual needs. And the value and the opportunities that come out of that are immeasurables.
Absolutely, and we're a diverse country, and folks need to understand and to act on that diversity and to make it easier for all of us to exist in this country. I want to return to accessibility again. Every time I go to a food store and park in one of those parking lots, I see somebody who has parked stupidly and either blocking the ramp, the entrance to the ramp, or partially, blocking or just the ultimate fiasco, which is somebody stopping in a disabled parking space with, who's not entitled to be there. How can our viewers help?
Well, obviously, if you're one of those people that you just saw park, then stop it. But beyond that, look, it really is a matter of educating yourself when you see the signs for accessible disability parking. It's because they're needed by folks. They're needed by your elders. They're needed by people who are maybe your age but who have disabilities and need to park close to the store. It's an education issue. I think people somehow feel put upon occasionally and feel like, that place right there by the door, I really would like to have it. But it's a politeness issue. My mama didn't raise kids to behave that way, and neither did yours, So we're just trying to help people understand that really it is about accessibility for people who need that service.
Yeah, indeed. How do your programs differ between the city and the county and Harford County?
They really, each county Department of Aging we work with a little bit differently because they're all different sources. But we work with Harford County, for example. We actually have a satellite office out there where we work with teen programs because there's so much interest in teen activities out in Harford County. Baltimore County, we have another organization that we work with, a little bit different kinds of activities because we let each county or each community sort of help us figure out what do we want to do together. Baltimore City, we've worked with Humanum, we've worked with other organizations in Baltimore City to put together programs that meet their needs, and each of those is a very different environment. Yeah.
And just to give an idea about, I didn't ask you at the start, how many folks with disabilities are there in the metro?
Well,
what would you guess?
Some in the city, county, and Harford County, they're probably somewhere around 300,000. There's a lot of
300,000.
Yeah, it's a lot of people.
Wow.
We estimate that as many as 15% of the population has some kind of a disability. Now, if you want to say how many of those are physical and how many are mental, et cetera, I can't tell you that. I can just say that it is a huge population, and it's a population that's growing as this baby boom population ages. There'll be more. Age and disability kind of go together. Of course, people who are seniors always say to me, "Oh, I'm not disabled. I don't hear good and I don't see so good, but I'm not disabled." And I said, "Well, if you don't want to call yourself that, that's fine with us. We want to help you deal with the effects of it, which are
right.
How can we help you hear better, or how can we help you see better, or get around with a cane, or get around with get some hearing aids, et cetera."
Yeah, we can leave the disabled term at the door.
Yeah.
Just focus on what works.
Yeah, find something that works and make it happen in your life.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And Amanda, that's something that we all need to kind of focus on. What works?
Absolutely, definitely. I think there's a number of things that work, and it starts with the individual. It starts with us kind of changing our minds again about how we look at things, how we do things. Some of the things that I've seen that really work are just taking the time to get to know someone a little better that you may not have gotten to know and you might be missing out on a wonderful opportunity to know an amazing person who can contribute so much to their community. Sometimes that's really all it takes. Sometimes, with an individual, I'll sit down and really all it takes is a conversation. And once you make that connection, you build trust, you build a relationship, you build something that can really turn into something much bigger. And you may not have ever thought that it was going to go that way. You might be meeting about benefits, you might be meeting about a housing situation, you might be meeting about transportation or other needs, but the next thing you know, the real personality comes out and the real story comes out, and then you realize how much this person has to offer the rest of the world. So.
Thank you. That's a very positive thought for all of us to keep in mind today. Mike, could you please give us that contact information one more time? We're almost at the end of the show.
Give us a call on the phone at 410-982-6311. That's our main number. Also, you can go to our website, which is www.imagemd.org, Image Center of Maryland. And then if you want to email us, send it to info@imagemd.org.
Okay. And those are the numbers and the contact for folks, whether they are interested in joining one of the team programs or getting assistance in various different ways, or finding out about how they can get some money for assistive technology.
We have groups that meet to talk about disability and adjustment to disability. We have a group called Uncomplicated, where people get together and just find solutions to household problems and maybe budgeting problems. Just come on down. We'll find a way for you to get reconnected. That's what we're about.
Yeah, and the time to do it is today. After you've seen the show.
Yeah.
After you've seen the show.
Yeah.
Just go do it. Just go do it.
Yeah. Give us a call. We'll be glad to help in any way we can. Come down and volunteer with us if you have a disability.
I was going to ask you.
Yeah, and if you've overcome that and have moved forward in your life, come and share that with other people. People need encouragement. People need to know how you made it, and your story can inspire other people to move forward as well. That's really what we're about, is really pulling together human capital. We believe in relationship. Relationship is key.
Absolutely.
Uncomplicated is a really great opportunity for that also. It's the second and fourth Monday of every month from 3:30 to 5:30 right in our office. It's kind of a coffee talk discussion group. It is member-led, so any issue that arises with our members, we discuss it, we work through the issues together. Sometimes we have presenters come in. We recently had a self-defense
That's great.
presentation.
And you come back and tell us about that.
Okay,
We've got to cut it off now, unfortunately. For Neighborhood Beat, that's all we have time for today. I want to thank our guest, Mr. Mike Bullis, who's Executive Director of the Image Center of Central Maryland. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
And Ms. Amanda Taylor, who's an independent living specialist and a travel trainer with the center. Thank you.
Thank you.
For Neighborhood Beat, that's all we have time for today. I want to thank you for tuning in. Let's try to be a good neighbor out there in all of our neighborhoods, and we'll see you next time.